Alright, let's talk about some of these top players who decided to jump ship rather than live under someone else's shadow. I can't lie, some of these moves were brave, some were kind of meh, and a few, well, they're the type you look back on and think, was that really the right call? So let's break it down, starting with Julian Alvarez. 1. Julian Alvarez. Alvarez went to Manchester City in 2022, right? He was scoring goals left and right, especially for Argentina in the World Cup. But then, there's Haaland. An insane goal-scoring freak of nature. Every game, it's like City fans could only see one striker, and it's not Alvarez. It's tough being in someone like Haaland's shadow, no matter how good you are. So what does Alvarez do? He packs his bags and heads to Atletico Madrid. For Alvarez, this is a good move. He gets out of the shadow, goes to a place where he can shine as the main striker, and boom. Just like that, he's his own star again. If you think about it, he's young and he has plenty of time to make a name for himself, so why settle for being second choice? The next player is Neymar Jr. 2. Neymar. This one, man, I still don't know how to feel about it. Neymar was smashing it at Barcelona with Messi. He was part of that iconic MSN trio, Messi, Suarez, Neymar. But there was always that feeling that it was Messi's team. So Neymar thought he could be the main man somewhere else, so he headed off to PSG in 2017, hoping to step out of Messi's shadow and be his own king. He got the number 10 shirt and all, but PSG didn't give him that same legendary status. No Champions League, no Ballon d'Or like everyone thought he'd get. And Neymar's story in Paris just didn't live up to the hype. If we're being honest, staying in Messi's shadow might have been better for his career. Number 3 is Emiliano Martinez. 3. Emi Martinez, leaving Ramsdale's shadow at Arsenal. Now here's one that actually worked out pretty well. Emi Martinez was at Arsenal for what felt like forever. He'd been a backup, just waiting for his shot. And finally, when Arsenal's first choice goalie got injured, Emi came in and was incredible. But once the main guy was back, Martinez could tell he'd be pushed to the sidelines again. He was like, nah, I deserve more than that. And he left for Aston Villa in 2020. And if you look at him now, it was absolutely the right move. He's Argentina's main guy, he's won the Copa America and the World Cup, and he's built a rep as one of the best keepers around. This is a guy who made the right call to get out of someone else's shadow. Another Arsenal player that moved to escape another player's shadow is 4. Aaron Ramsdale. This one's a bit funny because Ramsdale ended up in a similar situation again later. After taking Leno's spot at Arsenal, he became the main man, but then Arsenal brought in David Raya, and Ramsdale suddenly wasn't guaranteed that number 1 spot anymore. Not wanting to wait around to see if he'd get benched, Ramsdale decided to make the move to Bournemouth to be the star. It's a tough call, but honestly, as a goalkeeper, you only have so many spots on a team. You gotta be number 1 somewhere, right? Let's talk about a Liverpool player next. 5. Sadio Mane. If we're talking about big decisions, Mane leaving Liverpool in 2022 for Bayern Munich is a huge one. He and Salah were both key for Liverpool, but there was this vibe that Salah was the bigger star, the one getting all the love. Then, when Mane's Senegal beat Salah's Egypt in the AFCON, it was like everyone only still cared about Salah. So Mane's like, alright, I see how it is, and he heads to Bayern. You can understand why he felt that way though. It's tough being the other star player when you know you're a superstar yourself. Number 6 on the list is 6. Zlatan Ibrahimovic. So when Zlatan Ibrahimovic, aka the Lion, joined Barcelona, it was all hype. Everyone was excited to see him alongside Messi, and there was no doubt he was bringing his bold, no-nonsense style. But you gotta remember, Zlatan's a guy who plays by his own rules. He's not about to stand in anyone's shadow. But at Barca, it became clear that Pep Guardiola was shifting everything towards Messi. And as Zlatan clocked that there was no way Pep was going to shift that focus away from Messi, Zlatan started feeling left out. The funny thing is, he realised Barca's tiki-taka didn't even fit with his style of play. So after one season of feeling sidelined, he was out. My man packed his bags and went to AC Milan, where he was more than ready to be the main man again. He wasn't about to be anyone's sidekick, not even Messi's. That move to Milan? Yeah, it brought him right back into the spotlight, and my man really thrived without needing to fight for attention. Classic Zlatan. If he's not the star, he's not sticking around. Next. 7. Claude Makalele. Then there's Claude Makalele in his journey from Real Madrid to Chelsea. Now this guy wasn't flashy and didn't score screamers, but he did the dirty work. He was Real's midfield anchor. While they were busy signing big-name Galacticos like Figo, Zidane, and Ronaldo, they completely overlooked his value. But here's the twist. When it came time for contract negotiations, Madrid weren't willing to pay him what he deserved. They didn't see him as essential, thinking they could let him go and still dominate. So Chelsea were like, hey, we'll take him. And when he joined, he completely changed their game, setting the foundations for Mourinho's powerhouse team. At Chelsea, his role became so iconic that the Makalele role became a thing. Madrid? They struggled without him, missing that backbone in the midfield. They thought they could win on star power alone, but losing Makalele hit them harder than they expected. Sometimes it's the quiet guys who make the biggest impact, and Makalele proved that big time. Like Makalele, the next player on the list also played for Chelsea, and that brings us to 8. Romelu Lukaku. Now, let's talk about Romelu Lukaku's early days. Young Romelu was a Chelsea player, but the competition was crazy. Chelsea had big hitters like Didier Drogba and later Fernando Torres, and it was tough for him to break into the starting lineup. Lukaku was this raw talent, and Chelsea fans wanted him to succeed, but he just wasn't getting the minutes. So he moved to Everton, and it was like watching a new player. Finally, he was the main man, their top striker, and he started bagging goals left, right and centre. At Everton, he proved he was Premier League quality, just needing the chance to show it. Chelsea might have thought they could let him go without regret, but they'd soon see what they'd missed. Lukaku's success at Everton came as no surprise to those who saw his potential. That stint made him a true Premier League star, and eventually led to big moves back to Chelsea and then Manchester United. Sometimes all a player needs is a club willing to bet on them, and Everton gave Lukaku exactly that. Number 9. Kevin De Bruyne. Kevin De Bruyne's story at Chelsea is actually pretty similar. He arrived with huge promise, but things just never clicked at Stamford Bridge. De Bruyne was never getting the minutes he wanted, and when Mourinho didn't give him much of a shot, he decided to look elsewhere. So he left for Wolfsburg in Germany, and that's where everything changed. In the Bundesliga, he exploded, becoming one of the top playmakers in Europe. Suddenly, everyone was talking about De Bruyne. The guy was racking up assists, scoring, controlling games like he was born to do it. Man City saw what was happening and snatched him up, and now he's easily one of the Premier League's best midfielders, maybe even the best. Chelsea's decision to let him go still stings for their fans because he's become a superstar. It's one of those what could have been moments that Chelsea probably think about a lot. De Bruyne's move was all about finding a place that would let him shine, and Wolfsburg was the perfect step to get him to City. Last but not least, 10. Antoine Griezmann. And last but definitely not least, we've got Antoine Griezmann. He was Atletico Madrid's talisman, their star, their everything. But as he kept performing, he wanted more competition, more trophies, and playing alongside bigger names. So he made the switch to Barcelona, dreaming of teaming up with Messi and achieving greatness. But here's the thing, at Barca he never really found his feet. Playing in Messi's shadow isn't easy, and Griezmann quickly realised that being the main man at Atletico wasn't the same as just being another piece at Barcelona. He struggled to find his rhythm, and that Atletico magic just wasn't there. After a couple of seasons, he ended up going back to Atletico, where he could shine on his own terms again. Sometimes the grass just isn't greener on the other side, and for Griezmann the best fit was always back at Atletico. If there's anything to learn from all these, it's just that sometimes things don't work out the way you expect. You see big names jump from one club to another without even thinking if it's the right fit, not just the biggest paycheck or being part of a famous squad. And for some of these players like Lukaku, De Bruyne and so on, their move away to another club was about proving themselves, showing everyone they had way more to offer than the spot they were given. It's wild to think about where they'd be if they'd stayed put, but then again, without those moves, we might never have seen them reach their true potential. But that's it guys, 10 players who left their clubs to escape other players' shadows. Which other player left their club to escape another player's shadow? Let me know in the comment section below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more videos like this. See you in the next one.